boys over more than 40 years. He was finally jailed in 2016 and given a second life sentence in April this year for offences against 18 boys. But why was he able to evade justice for so long?
Well, tonight Look North can reveal that West Yorkshire Police led a 30-year campaign to put him behind bars, but it was the Crown Prosecution Service who prevented him from being charged on 3 occasions. Well, now there are calls for a public inquiry. Olivia Richwald has this exclusive report.
This is Cowling Pinnacle near Keighley. Wendy Murray spent many happy days here with her brother Andrew. But aged 14, Andrew Duggan was brought here and raped by Philip Longbottom. He changed from a happy boy into a tormented young man, abused alcohol, lived a homeless life and died in 2010, aged just 47. In April, more than 40 years after the attack, Wendy was at court to watch Longbottom finally jailed for abusing her brother and 5 other boys.
Andrew would be pleased to know that Philip Longbottom has finally been brought to justice, and hopefully he will never get out of prison again and be at liberty to harm another child.
Philip Longbottom has been convicted of more than 50 offences against 18 boys as young as 10 years old. The offences took place from 1968 to 2010, so why did it take so long to get this dangerous man off the streets? This is an investigation by the Independent Police Complaints Commission. It reveals that police spent 30 years pursuing Philip Longbottom. Officers tried to have him prosecuted 3 times, in 1986, 1989 and 2001. But each time the Crown Prosecution Service rejected the police files, saying there was insufficient evidence, and Longbottom remained free to continue his abuse.
I feel hugely angry, hugely let down by the Crown Prosecution Service. They have failed to safeguard the public. Boys have been raped over 6 decades by this man, and the CPS could have prevented it.
Another victim was John Bailey. His abuse started in 1994. By this time, the police were well aware of the danger Longbottom posed. John reported him to the police a few years later, but it wasn't until April this year that Longbottom was finally convicted of abusing him.
Once he pleaded guilty, I could let go, I think, in a way, because he'd accepted what he'd done. It's taken best part of 25, 26 years to be where I am now. And I'm glad that it's been a horrendous journey, but I'm glad I'm only 42.
Philip Longbottom was a wealthy businessman. He was considered a pillar of the community. This report details multiple complainants over the decades and extensive police files, but each time the CPS told the police there was insufficient evidence.
How many statements from young boys and parents saying that they have been raped does the CPS need? They had masses and masses of evidence over several decades, naming the same person right across Yorkshire.
Tonight, the Crown Prosecution Service confirmed that a file of evidence against Philip Longbottom was considered in 1986, but it has no record of any other files until 2016. That one led to Longbottom's first conviction. The CPS said its approach to this type of offending has evolved considerably, and it's willing to answer any questions Mrs. Murray may have. But Wendy is not satisfied and is calling for a public inquiry. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North.
It's a very disturbing situation. Joining us now are John Bailey, who you saw in Olivia's report. We've also got Jimmy Vaughan and Andy Williams, who are also abuse survivors. The 3 of you setting up a new men's support group, which we'll be talking about in just a moment or so.
But first, I'm going to start with you, John. How has your life changed since the conviction in April?
Since the conviction, things have really got positive for me in terms of how I live now. In the past, once it happened, I would have gone from taking lots of drugs, drinking, trying to self-harm, suicide attempts, to finally being able to put it behind me.
So this has had a profound effect on you, hasn't it?
It's been a horrific 26 years, and I can finally put that behind me now.
And I suspect yours is a very similar situation as well. Do you find that the strength of the 3 of you are helping you discuss it and hopefully pushing it out of your mind completely?
Definitely, completely. You've got to talk, you've got to speak out, speak in between all 3 of us, and the talk and triangle that we've all set up will help other males as well talk about it as well.
I suspect, Jimmy, that's a similar situation for you as well, because this meeting that you're going to hold tomorrow night, tell us how important that could be for you.
Well, it's very important. Men, as you know, they're stubborn. They don't talk about anything. And us three been suffering with depression and anxiety and all that sort of caper in the past. That we have well, not expectations, but the experience from people that come to our group and talk properly and talk freely and all confidential.
And does it help talking to somebody who's gone through similar things to what you went through?
Yeah, well, we've done court cases and we've done it from start to finish. So we've got the experience, we can talk to people as we've done for the last 5 years to the Zem's page, telling them what it's like and what it's like to do video evidence and work your way through the entire, all of it.
Well, it's great to see all of you here. You're obviously very proud of what you're doing. Just a brief word about when's the first meeting?
Tomorrow night,
Yeah, okay.
7 till 9.
Got some social
working men's club, yeah. Social club.
Well, we wish you well. Lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks very
Well
much.
done, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Well done.